Undisputed live from Los Angeles. I'm Jason McIntyre here with Greg Jennings, Chris Broussard, and LeVar Arrington. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Morning. I'm ready to be undisputed on this desk right here. You know, handle my business, especially with Broussard.
What's up, everybody? I'm looking forward to having some fun and whipping some tail.
It's going to get competitive.
I'm the friendly one, so I'm just grateful to be here, guys.
Oh, geez, here we go.
All right, gentlemen, we all heard the reports that Jerry Jones has become, quote, infatuated with Kyle Pitts ahead of the draft. And it sounds like the Florida tight end reciprocates the interest. In an earlier interview this week, Pitts revealed he had a convo with Jerry and said, quote, "It's an honor for him to say that. Dallas is a great team. If I could have the opportunity to play for the Cowboys, it would be a great thing." Dallas has the 10th pick in the draft, which is 13 days from now. LeVar Arrington, what does Dallas need to do the rest of the offseason to get back to the playoffs?
Getting Pitts would not hurt, I'll tell you that much. That's a great start if that happens for them. But I think this is internal, guys. I mean, when you take a look at this Dallas Cowboys team, you got to make this an internal conversation between your leaders. You know, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, you know, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, La'el Collins, your offensive front, basically, your leaders on the receiving side, you know, Amari Cooper. And you got to have a conversation with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. Why? Because this is a team that has grossly underachieved through the last, several years. And coming into this season, they're heading into that type of land where the cap may start to be a reason for this team to fall apart in terms of losing players. You've got to address internally the leadership, the accountability, the approach to the season. Zeke, you got to have a Pro Bowl year. Dak, you got to have a Pro Bowl year. Some of you guys up front, receivers, CeeDee Lamb, y'all got to have Pro Bowl years. If you had that, we might win the NFC East, and we might find ourselves in a great situation in the playoffs. I think it starts with internal conversations and coming together that way.
Yeah, I agree. However, number one, let me address this. The Cowboys aren't going to get Kyle Pitts. He's not going to fall to number 10. Like, he's going to be gone before then. But when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, yes, it is internal, but it's personnel specifically on the defensive side of the football. Offensively, they have the personnel that can match with any offense and go up against any defense in the National Football League. Defensively, when you look at what they lack depth at the linebacker position. We know who Jalen Smith is. We know who Vander Esch is, but they had down years. They need depth there. They definitely need to address the cornerback position. This league is a passing league. Look across what is going on within your own division. Don't even look beyond your own division. The New York Football Giants acquiring Galladay. They need somebody that can match up against these receivers and these passing attacks in this National Football League. So they have to address that cornerback position along with the safety position. Offensively, I'm not concerned about the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to be good. With Dak Prescott, your $160 million man, back under center, hoping that he's going to be healthy. You got the 10th overall pick. You can add something that you need and that will implement and bring value right now, not down the road defensively. That's where I think that the Dallas Cowboys has to focus. They've already been doing it with adding Keanu Neal, who I absolutely love. He's a hybrid. He's a safety that's moving to linebacker that loves getting his nose dirty. So I think they're heading in the right direction. They just need to keep adding some pieces that will help them right now.
Well, I'm going to address this question. I agree with Greg. Kyle Pitts probably won't be there at number 10. But if he is, you got to take him. And I'm with you, Greg, that they obviously need to improve on the defensive end. I mean, that goes without saying. That was one of the worst defenses we've ever seen last year. But if Kyle Pitts is on the board, I get it. Your receiving core is one of the best in the league already. But you still have to go and get this guy. He's a guy that looks like a Hall of Fame talent. He's a guy that looks like a unicorn, 6'6", 245, can play tight end, can split out as a receiver. We've seen whether it's George Kittle, whether it was Gronk, whether it's Zach Ertz or Travis Kelce, a tight end who's a mismatch for linebackers and cornerbacks. What can you do with a guy like that? So Kyle Pitts, if they can get him, I think to what you said, LeVar, if you have him with those receivers, that opens things up a little more for Zeke. So now I think Zeke can have that type of year that he needs to have for the Cowboys. I think the defense can be addressed. Look, I think their personnel's not bad defensively. Nobody expected them to fall apart like they did last year. 2 years ago under Rob Marinelli, when they ran the 4-3, they were 11th in the league defensively in points allowed and against the run. Last year, Mike Nolan comes in as a defensive coordinator, tries to get cute, tries to do a bunch of different schemes in a pandemic season when you really didn't have time to prepare. And I think a lot of guys were confused. Now you got Dan Quinn coming back, going to put back the 4-3. I think that scheme will fit better for DeMarcus Lawrence, for Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith. I think these guys will have bounce-back seasons because it's going to be a lot simpler. Then I think, look, understated signing a few days ago when they got Brent Urban. Now, I know he's not great. He's barely a starter, but Pro Football Focus said he's the third best defensive tackle against the rush last year. So I think he kind of helps shores up your run defense, too. So I think defensively, they're not going to be awesome, but I think they can be adequate and middle of the road defensively. And then with that offense, that offense should be great, and they can definitely win their division. They should win that division.
I got to stop everybody here. So I can understand Greg Jennings caping up for an offensive player in the draft, but LeVar Arrington, I am extremely disappointed that you looked at the Cowboys defense, which was 28th in the league in points allowed last year. They could not stop a nosebleed, and you're advocating for them to go get another offensive player? This is typical Jerry Jones. I like shiny new objects. Let's get CeeDee Lamb in the draft. CeeDee Lamb's very talented, extremely awesome receiver. Doesn't help them at all. Okay, they've got receivers. They've got an offense. LeVar, they were giving up points in buckets early in the season. Could not stop anybody. And look at this secondary, okay? They got a young kid, Diggs, who I like. At number 10, they absolutely need to take the cornerback out of Alabama, Surtain. His dad was an NFL player. They got the lineage. Now you've got two Alabama cornerbacks, guys who played together in Tuscaloosa. That secondary is atrocious. And what happened in the division, LeVar? Look at what Washington did. They go out and get a receiver. What did the New York Giants do? They go out and add Kenny Golladay. Oh, and Kyle Rudolph. This division's going to be a lot more difficult, guys. I know the quarterback in Washington, and we don't trust Danny Dimes in New York. But if you look at the offensive talent on the outside, they are very skilled. The Eagles will be better. This Dallas secondary cannot stop anyone. And LeVar, if they go offense here, it's typical Jerry. You said the phrase grossly underappreciated or grossly
underachieved.
Yeah, underachieved. LeVar, it's been 25 years. 25 since they've been to a Super Bowl, okay? That's a little more than grossly underachieved.
You know, here's what I'll say. I first started thinking to myself, I know they got to test us for COVID before we come in, because I was like, man, did J-Mac get COVID and lose
I got the vaccine, baby.
Did the vaccine, like, make his brain come out of his ears and leak out? Because I'm sitting there like, what do you mean if you get Kyle Pitts? Like, he's going to make anybody's team better. He actually, I do a show with Plexico Burress, and I was with him, and we were talking, and he was like, man, he's the closest thing I've seen to me. And I was like, man, and I'm sitting there thinking, I haven't seen a dude like Plexico Burress in the league since, well, Plexico Burress. And he does. Like, I started studying him on film, the way he moves, his fluidness, his way of, like, just making it easy. And one thing he said that stood out to me, he said, you can neutralize speed. You can back guys up. You can, create a cushion, but you can't neutralize size. And the man being as big as he is at 245 and at 6'5", that is a tremendous amount of size. That's ball radius to catch the ball. he's going to make your team better. So while I will agree with you, you did bring me back in. I didn't think they needed to come get you and put you on a gurney and take you to the hospital, J-Mac. I will say Surtain would be an excellent